Hello YouTube, it's Dude and I'm back with a video, and today I'm doing a video review on the recently released War for Cybertron Studio Series Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. It's a very recent pickup for myself and I've been very impressed with this figure, but it does have its flaws. So let's get cracking on with the review, shall we? And first and foremost, let's take a look at the Alt mode, arguably the weaker of the two modes of this figure, and the main reason is of course those visible fists that we can see there. For me personally, it is not a deal breaker, but I can understand why people were quite miffed when they seen the original release pictures of this. A lot of people were hoping it was mistransformed, but that hasn't been the case. However, as always, third-party companies have your back, and in this case, DNQ Design, I believe that's what you call them anyway, are going to be doing an upgrade kit for the figure which will cover those visible fists and also give you a few additional parts as well. One thing Hasbro has done with this figure, and it's always one that gets heavy criticism, is the wheels. Yes, as you can see, they've actually got a bit of paint on them there. We've got some red rims and the hubcaps have been painted silver. Plus, they don't just look like the general plug-in wheels that you see mostly on the Generations line. I suppose this could be down to the fact that this figure is part of the Studio Series and it does have a bit more budget thrown at it per figure. Now, if we take a look at the front of the figure, this is where things not necessarily get ropey, but are just mismatched a little. I can see what they've tried to do here with the silver paint, trying to match that angle there on his robot chest, and it just misses the mark slightly. It's not the end of the world, but I can really see they were really trying to get that in a bit of a better angle. And there, if you look, you can see a little bit of paint splatter on that side there of my copy of the figure, but other than that, QC wise, I don't have anything else wrong with it at all. And it's time for size comparison, and what better size comparison is there than the deluxe sideswipe mold, the new scale from Hasbro. Now again, it's a bit interesting trying to compare the scales on these ones because the Studio Series tends to have a different scale from the Generations line as a whole. Sure, the Move 86 line was built on purposely to match with the current generation scale, but this gives you an idea, and we do have to bear in mind that this is a Cybertronian alt mode. While yeah, there's a smattering of Cybertronian design aspect there with the sideswipe mold, it is not War for Cybertron video game style. And lastly, for the alt mode, there is of course weapon storage. So you can take his blaster and plug the axe in the top there, just two clips, two holes, and hey presto, Bob's your uncle, how's your father? That's it clipped in. And at the back of the alt mode, we've got two little ports here, and we can pop it on, and there we go, that's his weapon storage. Not as neat as, say, the War for Cybertron Bumblebee, but it's there, it's an option for you. And we're now on to the robot mode, and it's a really nice looking robot mode. It definitely echoes the original design it is based on. It's a very nice chunky looking bot, and Prime in my opinion should have a bit of chunk, a bit of heft lookingness to him. If we take a look at the head sculpt, let's bring him in a little bit. Very nicely done. Definitely, they've took a lot of time in designing that head sculpt and it's been painted really well. Articulation wise, you do get everything you would expect for a figure of this size. You know, your arms all do the full 360, you've got an extending there on the shoulder, bicep swivel, a single bend at the elbow, the fists do have a little bit of a swivel to them. You get a waist swivel that will do a full 360 due to transformation. Get a nice bend and straight leg, but you can't get the leg to go all the way back, unfortunately. And of course, you do get the most coveted ankle tilt for all your figure photography needs. Aside from that, just looking at the detail on him, just from the head down, the funky looking crotch piece, all the details on his upper thigh. I do like how they've put the silver paint there in the leg. Again, because it's Studio Series, they do get a bit more budget to play with. This figure has a couple of gimmicks, first one being this is Matrix of Leadership, which you can just open up here, and there it is to see for all its glory, and as you can imagine he can't hold it, but never mind, I'm quite glad that they included it. The other feature that this figure, as well as others, do have in the line, such as Bumblebee, is how their weapons interact with them. Instead of the usual just holding the weapon, although he does hold his axe as you would expect, you just use this hole here and plug it in to the post. Make sure you're doing it the right way around. And it does fit in there nice and snug, and you can see it homages how the weapons worked in the video game, with their hands being interchangeable into the weaponry that you selected, and it's a very neat touch, and there is a little nub in there where you can add some blast effects. And in terms of scale, there is again with the deluxe sideswipe, which is of course the de facto scale now for deluxe figures, and you've also got him with his Studio Series Gamer Edition counterpart Bumblebee, which gives you a better idea of how Optimus Prime interacts with other figures from that line. My final thoughts on War for Cybertron Studio Series Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. You can probably guess I'm very enamoured with this figure. It's amazing. Sure, that alt mode with the visible fist syndrome is quite annoying for some, but for me the robot mode more than makes up for it. It's an excellent representation of the character model from the War for Cybertron trilogy. They nailed the face sculpt as far as I'm concerned. It's got great articulation, great paint applications where they have been applied. QC on mine was non-existent, apart from that little paint splatter. Overall, it is a figure that I would recommend that you do have in your collection, be you a die-hard Optimus Prime fan, or be you a War for Cybertron gamer fan. This series is one I have been looking forward to, and I will continue to collect the rest of them. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video.